my goal daily, I think, is first of all to have a positive attitude. I believe in meditation and positive mindset. And I feel like if I can help and touch anybody in this world and improve their mindset, that's already, a big success for me in the day.
Welcome to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg.
We're live from Laguna Beach, California today at the Ben Reinberg I Own It studios. And we have an incredible woman coming on, which I'm really excited to talk about. And it just seems like we just keep adding incredible women and talented, successful women that have created significance in their life. Natalie Lefevre, thank you so much for coming on today. And we really appreciate you spending the time. I know you're busy traveling, so thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ben. I'm super looking forward to this interview.
Fantastic. So a couple of things that jump out about you are that you love nature, you love traveling, and you love people. And you're a marketing storyteller, which I really appreciate. So looking at your amazing social media travel photos, which I love, it seems you built a fantastic professional lifestyle. Let's kick things off by sharing more about your story and sharing with our audience, how you go about on your daily basis and what's your mission in life.
Great questions. Wow, so much. So on Instagram, I have my travel channel at island_Natalie, and I have about 1 million followers. My background actually is I worked with Euronews, so I had a corporate job with a big news channel, and I ran a couple departments. My mission after having that big corporate job was, first of all, more freedom, and I'm passionate about nature and the ocean. I love ocean conservation. I was born in the Seychelles Islands off the east coast of Africa, and I'm just this little girl, kind of like Moana, who set out into the big world. I'm half German, came to Texas, so I sound American. I feel like America's also home for me. And my goal is to just, at this point, after all the travels, at first I wanted to just have freedom and travel. And I wanted to be able to afford a lifestyle that would otherwise cost me a lot of money to pay for these hotels. And so I figured out, and I knew that social media was the future after working with this corporate news channel. I just knew that was going to happen and take off. So I learned how to create content. I learned how to write the correct emails and get invited to the beautiful islands of the Maldives and have these beautiful villas instead of having to pay, $5,000 a night. But also while delivering, quality work and beautiful content and production and storytelling for these hotels. That then I realized didn't pay very easily. So I decided I need a second kind of income stream, that regular monthly income stream. So I decided, well, I've learned it now. Why don't I consult other people how to build their social media? So I created a social media agency, Eagle Eye View Agency. And with that, I help brands, people, personal people, book authors, grow their brand, really ensure that they have engagements, growth, and understand the crazy ever-changing algorithm, while also advising them on how to curate the right type of content that will be interesting and has an emotional connection with the audience. After that, I traveled the world, and I just realized that a lot of our oceans are, the corals are dying, and literally have goosebumps talking about it, because I've just seen the destruction and the decay underwater of, many beautiful worlds in the Seychelles, as well as in my islands where I'm from, as well as in the Maldives. And of course, some of it is global warming, but, also the pollution of fish, and having mercury in my blood and having different metals in my blood. Because I was a pescatarian for about 4 years, and then I had all these heavy metals in my blood, and I thought, wow, I eat mostly vegetables and fish. How can that be? And so I looked into it more, and a lot of these Seaspiracy and other movies came out. And so my goal daily, I think, is first of all to have a positive attitude. I believe in meditation and positive mindset. And I feel like if I can help and touch anybody in this world and improve their mindset, that's already, a big success for me in the day. And as well as whatever I can do with the power of my audience reach to make people aware of, you know, not take buying that extra plastic bag, or making mindful choices, call to action on how to reduce your own carbon footprint, or what you're doing and contributing to the pollution of the world, and what's really going on in the oceans. And so I've partnered with Oceanic Global, which is part of the UN. I've had, some people on from the UN convoy about World Oceans Day. I've talked about marine accretion technology, where you can regrow back the corals, or I've been part of coral planting experiences in different islands or locations. And I just think, we can't fix it all in one day, but if you can just do your little part and add to the pie, it's all, combined as an effort will help our world and the future generation. And other than that, my day consists of finding time for me. So I like to go and do my 10,000 steps or walk and listen to some positive kind of affirmations, or a podcast or a YouTube, so that I can learn and grow. And then, make sure that my clients are happy, make sure that the team is happy. And now, even more so than ever in the last year, I've gotten involved with Dr. Joe Dispenza retreats, which are meditations. And, I wasn't the girl that, like, I'm not the girl that meditates. I don't consider it meditating. I consider it kind of a technique to manifest your goals, and to be realigned and rebalanced with your frequency or energy, or release tension. Since we're always fast moving and texting, and drama happens and you hear bad news. So someone in my family was just, diagnosed with cancer. And so how do you deal with that? How do you create a positive mental state to really be a support? And instead of always focusing on the negative, like being grateful. So really, really being grateful. And I've actually pivoted a lot of my Island Natalie travel channel now to elevate your life, body, and mind. So I've had the brain docs on. We talk about brain and gut health. I had a lady on that I personally met, Evie. She healed herself from stage 4 cancer. And so my goal now is really to make sure that I can deliver a message to people that there is hope. There are different ways. I do believe in frequency-based therapies that can help you heal, versus just old-fashioned medicine. So I've come across people that have done experienced some amazing healing, and I'm open-minded to that, discovering more breath work. I've done all different types of breath work. Wim Hof, Peter Evans also did a long journey of breath work, and learning to kind of get out of your head and rebalance, but also rewind to that original heart state that we had when we were 6 or 8 years old, before all these different things started happening to us. Like, I don't know, divorce, a girlfriend disappoints you, you lose your puppy, all these things. You know, it's one thing that you start doing that becomes a habit, then becomes your personality. So how do you rewind and go back to that original state where you're really just feeling and coming out of love and giving, versus acting out of fear and worry, which by all means I do that too. I'm a work in progress. So so those are like the big things that I do on a daily basis.
I think we're all works in progress. I do a lot of personal development. I agree with a lot of what you said. And it's really showing up in life. How do you want to show up in life?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about you said is you meditate. I meditate as well. And what it does for me is it keeps me balanced, keeps me not getting triggered, which is so important in your personal and business life. Is, like you said, whether you go through a divorce, to a challenge with a friend, you have a conversation with an employee, maybe it doesn't go as well as you like, or they didn't understand but it allows you to listen better too and seek the truth in what other people are saying as well. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I wholeheartedly do a lot of the same thing. And I think it's important. It's really how do you become the authentic Natalie at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah.
So I always want to ask you, what are some of your personal favorite travel destinations, and where are you planning on going this year while I watch you have this incredible journey going on?
Well, Island Natalie does really prefer islands and beaches, so there's no coincidence there. Um, I recently was in Barbuda Island in the Caribbean, which I have to say was just wow, spectacular. I was surprised that in the Caribbean something exists that really looks like the Maldives. There's no real hotel there yet, but the next trip is Seychelles.
Mhm.
It's monsoon season, and this is the best time of year, so I'm going for my birthday home to the Seychelles, which is still one of my favorite places in the world because we've got like kind of the beaches, but the topography, I always say Jurassic Park meets Maldives. So you've got a little more to do. You can go hiking, you can drive to a different restaurant versus in the Maldives, you're like stuck on that one little island. So I'm going to go to Deroche Island and then the main island and spend Easter with my mom who lives there. Then I'll be in Munich a little bit. I always go back to London because London is home. I lived there for 5 years. And then the rest of the summer, I go every summer for the 4th of July week to Capri. I love Capri. I feel like that's my little island in Europe. I love the food. I love Italian food and I love the people. And it's almost like we all see each other at the same time of year. Like I'll know people from Australia, from Palm Beach, from Florida, from New York, and from Mexico who always meet there. So we always hang out in the piazza, which is nice because it's like a kind of homecoming gathering. And where else am I going? I'll be going to Crete for the first time, Crete, Greece. I'm doing a retreat there, um, family constellations retreat and multi practitioners. Where else? I would love to go back. I'll go to the Oktoberfest, which I do end of September. I do that every year. It's a tradition I really love because I'm half Bavarian and we used to go with my grandmother. So I like Bavaria. I think in August, I'll probably go to the Hamptons. I like a little bit more cooler climate
Mhm.
in August where I like to play tennis. So August is where my summer starts winding up in the beginning of the summer. And then by the time it's August, when some people go on their summer holidays, I want to wind down and really just focus on being healthy, detoxing, tennis. What else? I would like to go to Israel. I would like to go back to Tel Aviv, hopefully this year, because the food is incredible. The people are amazing. It's such an energetic city, and it's been a good 13, 14 years since the last time I visited.
Yeah, I've never been to Israel, and I just interviewed Lori Palatnik, who
Uh-huh.
is the I don't know if you know her, but she founded a organization called Momentum, where she brings women to Israel, and
Oh,
it's pretty impressive stuff. And so she was teasing me and saying, "We're going to get you there," and I said, "I know I'm going there soon, so probably this year I'll get there."
well, maybe we should try to coordinate.
I would love that. That would be great. Traveling with you would be such a ball because you're so well versed, and I'm sure you have all these great tricks you could teach me. I've been traveling since I was younger and I started my business. But let me ask you, how big of a market is eco-friendly travel, and what are some of the big eco-friendly travel tips you could advise to travelers who want to leave a smaller footprint?
Um, yeah. Well, one for me was, where are you based? So that you can reduce the amount of flights you have. So I chose Miami because I love islands and I knew that I could fly to the Caribbean more easily. So I will have less international big travel. So I won't go as much now to Bali than when I was living in Europe because it's just so freaking far. And that's, a lot of big flights. Other than that, I recommend bringing your own water bottle or like a what do you call them? Those they when they squish and open. What do you call that?
I don't know, whatever
The
they are.
squeezable ones that they
Yes,
can eat. You can easily travel
right,
with them.
exactly.
So water bottle, I love that a lot of hotels like Six Senses, okay, they're one of the more 5-star luxury resorts, but Six Senses refills the bottles versus giving you new bottles. They've got containers for the ear swabs or your cotton swabs or whatever. They refill them, so they're not always putting new ones out there and buying stuff with plastic that they're throwing away. I also like Anantara. They're a pretty decent 4 to 5 star hotel. They've got a mindset that's very eco-friendly and conscious. I think, yeah, making sure that when you're snorkeling, that you don't, that you try to not get too close to the corals, because if you're not a good swimmer, you can hit the corals, break them, and then they die. And I will say that I've seen that. I've seen like total beautiful cities of coral towns disappear over years just from the tourists who are going in and taking the shells. And I always say, please don't take the shells. Maybe take one or two. I know you're on vacation, but these are homes. These are homes for little animals. And so the more you take the shells, the less they have places to live in, and then it'll disappear. You're on vacation, you're coming there for an experience. You go back home, but that island or that beach or that area is going to die over the years with tons of people who have the same mindset like you do. So be conscious of your what you're doing, what kind of sunscreen you're wearing. Is it an eco-friendly sunscreen that's going to pollute the ocean and the algae and the environment that you're swimming in? Like, for example, in Palau, I was really lucky to experience Jellyfish Lake, and it was the only place in the world where you could go inside and literally touch the jellyfish and they won't bite you or sting you.
Oh, wow.
And back then it was mostly Asian tourists, mostly from Japan and China. And I think I read somewhere now that the whole place is dead. And that just breaks my heart. We're like ruining these beautiful, rare, precious nature spots in the world. And also, when you go the whale sharks, diving or snorkeling, I don't really support them in Mexico. I mean, I understand it's great to go if you have an opportunity, but a lot of them are not. They're just worried about making a buck, and so they don't care if with their boat if they hit on the back of the whale shark, and so a lot of them are getting hurt and injured. Um, I always like to pick up like trash on the beach if I see it. Like, I just feel like, hey, now we have so many more masks in the ocean and pollution. So if you see it and you're not grossed out, pick it up, take it back to the trash or back to your hotel if you can. Um, yeah, I mean, there's so many things like, taking your own plastic bags, recycling your bags, um, and yeah,
Let me
so
ask
many.
Well, let me ask you something. So I travel a lot. I've been at some eco-friendly hotels, and seems like they're popping up more. Are eco-friendly resorts common in the world? And what kind of things do they do to minimize their footprint? And are any of them serving mainstream customers, or mostly is it more luxury, high-priced travelers for them to be able to afford what they're producing at the resort?
Sorry, you had cut out, so could you repeat that,
Yeah,
please? Because I
sure. Let
couldn't
me
hear
go.
it.
Are eco-friendly resorts common? I stay at a lot of hotels around the world that are moving towards eco-friendly processes. And what kind of things do they do to minimize their footprint? And are any of them mainstream for customers, or do you have to be really high-priced traveler to be able to afford to stay at an eco-friendly resort?
Oh, no, there are, thank goodness, eco-friendly is a trend. And there are 3-star, 4-star. Of course, I believe that the higher luxury resorts have more money and spend power to be mindful of their, back backstage, meaning in the kitchen, choices for eco-friendly decisions on food, how it's prepared, their cleaning, versus a smaller hotel that doesn't have as much budget and freedom. But there's actually a website, and I don't remember it now. I've actually worked with them and had them on for an interview about 2 years ago. And I don't know if I can add it in somewhere later that I could send you that website, but they actually, their whole goal as an organization is focused on giving you a really legitimate list of who is really eco-friendly, because a lot of people now, it's so cool, so they say organic or they say eco-friendly and they're not really eco-friendly, but they are basically testing them and giving them a certain certification to be available on their website for other people to go and check out a hotel that is indeed authentic and honest about the title of being eco-friendly. It's just a little harder to come by with the lower end resorts that don't have the budget to invest in some of these solutions. Although it's so easy, you just fill glass bottles instead of stuff in bathrooms or toilets, different ways on how you can, wash the towels and the bed sheets, but you need to invest in the for it and the staff.
Okay. So when you work with brands on ESG marketing, what kind of messaging do you tend to focus on? And share some examples for us and our audience of the marketing campaigns you do.
Yeah, so we do a lot of different, let me think of one. We try to focus on kind of the wellness theme in a lot of the hotels and luxury residences where you don't have like a hotel. So how are you getting your vitamins? So like showing that they are outsourced versus wasting money within the hotel. We've discussed, the organic food concept and why, for example, fish is metal free, kind of like that sugar fish. I don't know if you've heard of the brand out of LA, but they talk about what kind of metals are in the food that you're actually eating so that you can know that it's farm to table. What charities they're donating money to, because a lot of these hotels, like Wilderness Safaris and what's the other one in Africa that I work with? I can't remember there, but they do a lot for nature and give back. So making sure that if they're not actually doing it inside, how are they giving back to the community? How are they really saving the elephants or the ox or whatever? What are they contributing in the area? Like there's another island that we helped, Dennis Island, and a lot of people don't know that they do, of course they focus on the sea turtle project to make sure that they're counting and making sure that they check the numbers. And for example, they've been able to see that as the beaches and are coming back, there's more of the mangroves. So a lot of these old beaches are losing some of their depth, and therefore the turtles are coming, and they'll come twice. And if they cannot lay their eggs, they'll go back out and they'll dump the babies, the eggs in the ocean. So the population would be dying. So a lot of population control. How are they, making sure that the magpie robins, for example, a very unique bird that comes, they found out that they were coming. So they cleared the space. So we make sure that we show the story for nature lovers and also people who want to support the environment, that if they're coming to that hotel, they're not just paying and contributing to a vacation for the villa, but they're contributing to all these different projects of the magpie robin bird, of the sea turtle project, of the shark foundation, and how they're also globally involved in different communities and projects, even if they're in a tiny little island like the Seychelles, but that they're globally involved in a community to make sure that these animals can thrive and not be extinct and have a home.
So you have 1 million followers on Instagram, which is
Yes.
quite impressive. Is it
Thank you.
fun? Is it fun being a social media influencer? What's your favorite part about it? And what parts do you like? What parts do you not like about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges just like in any business. And believe me, I've had a love and hate relationship with my Instagram, Island
Mhm,
Natalie
mhm.
profile. So there's, yeah, just like anything else, ups and downs. What's my favorite? I mean, my favorite part is that I really get to see some beautiful places, and I've been able to see some villas that I probably would have never been able to afford in my life. So that's really amazing. I love adventure. I love exploring. So I've been able to be based in a beautiful spot where I can hike a waterfall or have a dream experience and grow. I've been able to really grow and learn other people's walks of life, traditions. And one thing I've seen in common with everyone, we all share connection and we all have our version of love, right? So everybody I've met along the way has contributed to my happiness, and sunshine in my heart. And I always feel like I'm one of the people. Like I always really feel like I want to belong and integrate in their way of life. So many plus points. I've met incredible people along the way. I've been a part of some influencer conferences. I've met incredible clients that I could help that then meet me and they're like, oh my God, we're so frustrated. We don't know how with the algorithm to really get our channel going or to achieve this and that goal. So I'll sit with them and meet with their social media team and discuss some of the challenges they face, because this is, it's a give and take, it's a win-win. So if they're inviting me, of course I want to help them, and as much as they've been able to be kind to me to provide a beautiful experience. The challenges, the things that I haven't liked, there's been some. I used to do a bunch of influencer trips because I noticed that when you work with like-minded people, you all post at the same time and you're in a big group picture, your engagements go up, and we're all going up at the same time and working off of feeding off of each other's um, growth in that moment, and sending traction from one profile to the other. But then you're dealing with a lot of personalities. So, I used to do them with 8 or 10 people, and you're dealing with all walks of life, some people hogging the camera versus the other one because you've got a videographer there, and the poor videographer is tired, so somebody needs to manage that the videographer is also, that people are mindful of his time and his breaks. If the I had it happen that the drone broke of the videographer, and we've been waiting for that specific villa, and 2 girls separate from each other just got mad at me and started yelling at me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've organized this entire holiday for you in a dream, island. Like, why are you getting mad at me? The drone's broken. Like, let's like, and then you have, like, I'll plan the whole itinerary, and we'll go to a waterfall, and someone will be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going 800 steps down, and somebody needs to carry my bag. And I'm like, hey, we're all here together. Like, you got to be, you got to like kind of like
You
roll
gotta
with
be
it,
you gotta be a trooper. You gotta go with the flow.
go with the flow, and don't be like a diva. So I've had some of those experiences, and then I decided I want to just travel on my own and maximum with one person. And I do prefer to travel with travel influencers versus fashion influencers, because they have a very different mindset, and their priority for their shoot is for that specific fashion item, whereas for me it's about nature and enjoying the place and the experience. So that can get a little stressful sometimes if you're not on the same page. So be
So
sure, just, yeah.
so will you travel with a commercial real estate influencer then?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm an influencer. I'm just a businessman. That's all. But
Well,
it seems like I do have a question. How long did it take to get to 1 million followers? And like, what's the secret? What do you do? Like, how does that
whew,
escalate?
yeah, it was a lot of work. I got in, thank goodness, way before the algorithm got so challenging. In the last 3 years, very challenging to grow. So when I have a new client that's really into their Instagram, I always recommend let's buy an old pre-existing account and go from there if you've got the money to spend it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it took me a lot of hard work and many years to grow it. And so let's be very clear about that. A lot of people, that's another challenge I've faced. People always think like, oh, it's so easy. You just go, you take a picture, you have a great life, you're done. Oh my gosh, it's so nice, and it's like, no, it takes you a lot of time to shoot. Something will go wrong. And then you have to get back home. You have to download everything, from the drone. It takes 30 minutes just to download, then the other stuff. And then you have to go and select through, I don't know, 500 or 1,000 images from the day, plus then also the videos. And you start editing. And that's the biggest part of the work. So we will go on these trips and be exhausted and work until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, working, editing, production, mixing the song. Is it starting on the right number or whatever? And then you have to post the next day. And then the hotel usually has an itinerary starting at 8:30 in the morning until 8 p.m. And then you have dinner. So when do you really have a relaxing moment? There's not a lot of time for relaxing. We come back from a lot of these trips exhausted. So just depends. Maldives is sometimes easier, but yeah, it took me for sure about 6, 7 years to really grow it and to be determined. And I had many days where I was like, I'm done with this. This is too much work. This is not going anywhere. I'm not even making any income really off of it because it's challenging to work with brands because so many influencers are ready to get stuff for free that they don't need to get paid. So, and if you're getting paid for that protein shake, they might give you $500 or $1,000, maybe 1,500, and then it's a one-time deal and you're done and you have to send 100 emails to find a new job. So it's very difficult to make money in that specific area unless you are a celebrity level and this and that. And then what is your identity? For me, I wanted to keep my identity clean and not really get paid. Hotels don't really pay, but I didn't want to be the girl that's selling a protein shake just because I got 500 or 1,000 or $1,500 and I maybe don't really like it. Like I want to be clean and authentic about my voice and what I like and what I really enjoy drinking, for example. So I didn't choose that path, which a lot of people have. But yeah, then I also, to really, really grow my audience, I mean, first it was learning how to post, what time to post, how are the people really engaged and what time are they awake? Is my audience bigger in the States or are they bigger in Germany? What time zone are they, paying attention? And are they staying on it long enough for it to count as a view? And are they then also liking? Because some people, they're like watching you, they're not necessarily liking, but they're watching, so it doesn't count. And then I decided to improve my content. So I became this I focused on drone, ocean, being the girl floating in the water, kind of drone content with the turquoise blue waters and yellow, bright, happy sunshine kind of profile. And then after I fixed that, I focused on the audience. And then I knew there were a lot of growth giveaways where you would join a growth giveaway, I don't know, for $1,000. And for $1,000, you will have, they will try to win a laptop. And then you have 30 accounts that pay $1,000 to join this. And and they have to follow your account during that giveaway that runs for 4 days or something. And after the giveaway, so during that time, you have to make sure that you're posting something really interesting because after the giveaway ends, they can defollow you. And you want to make sure that you keep them interested and engaged, that they will want to stay. Of course, a girl posting beautiful luxury trips in a bikini is an easier profile than a businessman, in his suit, having a different type of
Wow,
content.
that's a heavy slam right there. Let me ask you something.
I didn't mean it that way.
I know, it's no problem. I'm just teasing you.
But that's how I grew it. I joined these giveaways and I invested in myself, just like you invest in any business. And
Right.
I'm sure I spent like I'm sure I spent 10,000 over a period of 2 to 3 years to
Uh-huh.
have access to these giveaways, to bring more eyes to my profile, and then try to keep them engaged.
That's great. Let's talk about greenwashing. So how often do you encounter greenwashing efforts from big brands, and how do you handle those situations?
Well, since you're the more corporate business guy, can you please explain greenwashing? I don't know that one.
It's just another term about the environment and where they're washing away and not being respectful of, ecological or environmentally
Ah,
type practices.
and what was your question before about it?
Yeah, how do you handle these situations when you're working with these big brands you encounter and they're not aligned with you and your philosophy? Because I imagine you think about it, I believe travel and environmental protection don't always complement each other, you
Yeah,
know. So,
it's
for
tough.
example, plane travel is carbon intensive. Too many tourists can be bad for natural habitats throughout the world. Do you agree? And how do you think about living your passions in harmony with some of these brands?
Well, whew, it's tough because, you say, I'm not going to get on a plane, or this is my carbon footprint, but that plane's going to take off and it's scheduled anyway. And I've had, random people, like I got invited once on a private jet, and I think I posted it and they were like, "Oh, that's really awful. You're about green solutions." I'm like, I was a guest. That plane was taking off whether I join and sit on that seat or not. And you can go scream at them because they paid for it. I can't afford a private jet. So it's kind of like the chicken or the egg, and it's a challenging debate, and challenging discussion. And I've seen also, yes, of course, I've seen brands that say they're eco-friendly or say they're organic or say they're whatever, and they're not. um, and in that moment I feel challenged because there's not much I can say. So like when I saw in the Maldives that they were really, they were building this, they're still finishing building this. Well, I'm not going to say the name of the different hotels, but it's like a community, a man-made island on top of the corals. And as I flew over it, I got so angry, and I thought, I'm going to make a video about this, and I'm going to put it all over Luxury World Traveler and Earth Pics and everybody, and we're going to show the world that, what they're doing to the ocean. And then I thought, great, if I do that, what am I going to achieve? Yes, I will achieve awareness, but I'm sure that my passport and my name will be revoked, that I'll never be able to go back to the Maldives because they're very, very strict. I know a lot of different stories of people how, I mean, even just to enter, and they check our film, they check our camera, you need special permission. The hotel has to write, they like take, what do you say, they take responsibility for you
Mm.
coming and doing the shoot as the production team, and then they ask you a lot of questions. So that's just one example. So yeah, so what do
Well,
you say by not hurting the tourism and the other people, but wanting to say something and speaking your voice? I do that. I do that on an individual case by case, because you can't sometimes say something,
well,
but
well,
I'm
let's
definitely
talk.
not going to get
Let's
paid. And yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things you do to promote uh, your philosophies. You're the chairman and ambassador for NGO One Ocean, One Future, and
Hmm.
also Oceanic Global, a UN partner.
Yeah.
Why don't you share more about it, and how can others support these causes?
Well, I mean, you guys can follow Oceanic Global. They really are an amazing organization. I've been with them now a couple years. Usually they use me as a kind of like their audience reach, and to expose whatever messages they're focused on. So marine accretion technology, World Oceans Day. When there's anything special coming up, I basically I repost it, I share, I talk about it. So we support each other. I know that Oceanic Global and I are now, we're bringing in the mindset into the ocean, because a lot of, I think since COVID, people are way more aware of their choices and what they're doing, and that, you know, there is an ecosystem that we need to be conscious of, and it's not just about you. So, and a lot of people have suffered with depression and being locked up for a while. So, and how does that feed into, you know, the animals and the ecosystem underwater? So we're, looks like it's could you hear me? Because it was kind of gone for a second.
Yeah, I think your internet's a little sketchy today, but that's okay. Keep going. I'm listening.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we've got some stories coming up about positive mindset and the ocean, and that combination together. So we've got some videos that we're working on, combining the two. So personal development, kind of positive awareness in that sense of the word. One ocean, one future. We've been working, you know, we did a research of which are the most polluted areas, but not toxic and dangerous, for our team to go in and try to help clean up a river or a body of water. So we found a partner, because of course this all costs money. We found a partner in Egypt. So we're going to start with the Nile. And the second part of the project is also to provide jobs to the community and train them on this cleaning boat that we have that'll go in and clean out the trash and then help recycle the trash, as well as, so provide the recycling second option, as well as training a community and providing jobs in a very, very small town, with a very, very well-known Egyptian, well, billionaire family that is really conscious about their country and their efforts and reducing pollution in their environment. We also looked into the Hudson River, by the way, in New York. It's got some, we actually declined that one, although I would have loved to start in America, but there's quite a bit of toxins in that river, which makes me sad because it's closer to home than we think.
Right.
You know, you think it's in Bali, you think it's somewhere else, but it's here in our backyard. So
That's great.
I'm more about cleaning up in your backyard first, but of course, you know, you need the investors, because it's a big, costly project to maintain that boat and all the maintenance and the team and the staff and the daily cleaning. So that's what One Ocean, One Future is doing. And my partner in One Ocean also just did a long-term lease in the Caribbean for an island. So we're going to kind of make sure we're thinking of an eco-friendly resort, but we're also focused on the bird population and the nature staying untouched as much as possible.
So the name of the show is I Own It. And that's why you're on. You own it. We are all works in progress, and we always will be. And share a recent example where you didn't own it fully, and you didn't take responsibility for something going on in your life. Because owning it is being responsible for every aspect of your life. Give an example where maybe you didn't own it.
Whew, I didn't own it. Oh yeah. Well, I work a lot on just personal growth, like I said, and there's this amazing company called Ovida, and they are a coaching online platform. So when you do a video-to-video talk, it has 300 or 500 points where it will check your intonation, how many questions you're asking, are you letting the other person talk, are they paying attention, or are you just, owning the floor, right? So I tested that with my sister. And what came up was that we still have a mother to daughter communication style versus sister to sister or adult to adult. And what came out in that was I was talking too much, and not really listening as much to her. And so, and when, Alex came on and gave us the analysis, he told me, like, you're not really, I want your task is for your sister to feel listened to. And so he shows me back in the video where I'm like, giving her the what do you call it when you flip your eyes back and you're not really paying attention and you're like, whatever, you're negating what she's saying. I roll. I gave her the eye roll. And
it's like anything in listening. It's one thing to sit back and listen to someone. It's another to really understand the message they're sending and finding the truth in what they're sending. That's the art of listening. People say, well, what makes success in listening? It's really understanding not only what they're saying, you can understand the words, but what's really the meaning behind it? What's behind it? That's the art of listening when you can do that. What is the best way to follow you?
Instagram at island_Natalie.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a website that you can share with people if they want to engage with you?
Sure. Yeah, that's actually eagleeyeviewAgency.com. So that's and then I've got Natalie Lefevre, LEFEVRE.com. And on Natalie Lefevre, you can see all the history. You can go onto my Instagram, you can go onto the social media agency, and you can also see everything about the conservation and kind of a long bio of what I'm into that is, always updated.
That's great.
Yeah.
Natalie, what a treat to have you on today, and so entertaining to follow you. I just really enjoy seeing where you're traveling and everything. We're gonna wrap up with our 3 questions. I'm excited for your answers. So if you're in Laguna Beach, and feel free to you're welcome to come in studio and meet with us. And
I'd love that.
To do an in-person. So I know you travel a lot. If you ever get to California, definitely.
I love Cali.
Hit me up and we can go at it. So we have a couch in the studio, and I would say, Natalie, please lay on the couch, close your eyes, put your feet up, and you can go back. How old are you now?
46.
Oh, you're young 46. All right. Well, here's the relevance why I asked.
Okay.
So you can go back and speak to your 16-year-old self and give advice. You're this sophisticated, talented, successful woman. And go back to when you were 16. What advice would you give yourself, knowing what you know now and the experience and all the ups and downs you've had in life?
Whew. I would say, you are a bright, beautiful, shining star, and don't you ever doubt it. And there's going to be tough days and challenges, but just know it is all going to be okay. And you can really do anything you want. And the only thing that is limiting anything you want are your own personal beliefs. I would tell her to go start earlier on personal development and understand the meaning of limiting beliefs that you set yourself, and just believe, because whatever you believe can happen.
Excellent. Great answer. So it's our last day on earth. God forbid.
Whew.
It's just me and you. It's our last meal together. What are we eating and what are we drinking? It's your choice.
Well, I want a buffet. I want a buffet of Creole food, Creole curry, mango salad, Arabic hummus, Indian food, chicken tikka masala, my mom's lasagna recipe,
nice.
And drinking. Well, I mean, I'm like a buffet girl. I like to eat it all, drink it all. So I guess I'd have a margarita and the best glass of red Bordeaux wine.
Oh, now you're
plus
talking.
Some sparkling water.
I love wine. I collect wine, and I love a good Bordeaux. That's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah.
I like your meal. So in our studio, in the I Own It studio, we have a grand piano, drum set, and electric guitars. It's just me and you in the studio. We're sitting there, and I would say, Natalie, you could bring in any band or musician. They could be living or deceased to play us a song.
I know it.
Who are you bringing in? And
You too.
wow. And
Bono.
what's Bono and the boys playing for us?
Oh gosh. Where the streets have no name. Still
Okay.
haven't found what I'm looking for.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Natalie Lefevre, what a pleasure to speak with you today. And I encourage anyone, definitely go on our Instagram. It's just very entertaining. You could see, if you like to travel, the different sites and areas throughout the world that she travels to, which is just incredible to see. Thank you so much for joining us today. And what a privilege, and wishing you all the best. Have a wonderful week, Natalie.
Thank you. You too. You too. Bye. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the I Own It podcast with Ben Reinberg. To hear our past episodes and connect with Ben, visit benreinberg.com.